She drank too much. You will not believe what happened. David's 35th. Another milestone birthday where I would have to pretend I was not acutely aware of my own mortality creeping closer. Sarah was excited though. David and his wife, Emily, always threw good parties. Plus, it was a chance to dress up and get out of the house. Sarah worked in marketing, so she thrived in social situations. Me, I was a project manager. Spreadsheets and deadlines were my comfort zone. Large crowds, not so much. You going to wear that same tie again, Mark? Sarah asked, rummaging through her closet. She emerged holding a shimmering emerald green dress. It was striking. Looks great, I managed, hoping I sounded enthusiastic enough. And yeah, it is a good tie. Matches my suit. She rolled her eyes playfully. You are such a creature of habit. The party was in full swing when we arrived. The venue was a trendy bar downtown, the kind with exposed brick and Edison bulbs. Loud music, louder conversations, and even louder laughter. I gravitated towards a group of my colleagues, relieved to have an easy conversation starter. Work. Sarah, of course, immediately dove into the crowd, hugging Emily and exchanging pleasantries. That was when I saw him. Liam. I had not seen Liam in probably 10 years. He and Sarah went to college together. I knew of him, but we had never really crossed paths. He was always that college friend that occasionally popped up in Sarah's stories, usually involving some sort of drunken escapade. He was taller than I remembered, maybe a little more polished, definitely more muscular. Sarah saw him too. Her face lit up. A little too much, maybe? They hugged, a long, lingering hug. I suddenly felt a pang of something. Not quite jealousy. More like unease. I got drawn into a discussion about the new software rollout. The details are a blur now, filled with jargon and deadlines. But I remember glancing over at the bar. Sarah and Liam were there, talking, laughing. Sarah had her hand on his arm. David came over, slapping me on the back. Look who it is, Liam. Back in town after all these years. He and Sarah were inseparable back in the day. Yeah, I know, I said, trying to sound nonchalant. College buddies. David chuckled. Buddies? They were practically attached at the hip. Almost thought they would end up together. Good thing you came along, eh? He winked. I forced a smile, the unease now hardening into a solid knot in my stomach. I excused myself and went to grab a drink. I needed something to cut through the awkwardness. When I turned back toward where I saw Sarah and Liam, they were gone. I assumed Sarah went to the ladies' room, so I figured they would be back. The night wore on. I circulated, made small talk, and tried to ignore the nagging feeling that something was not right. I saw Liam a few times, always surrounded by people, always the center of attention. But I did not see Sarah again until much later. She was sitting on a plush velvet couch in the corner, her eyes glazed over. She was laughing at something Liam was saying. He was close, leaning in, his hand resting on the back of the couch, just behind her shoulder. Hey, I said, my voice a little sharper than intended. Everything okay? Sarah looked up, her smile a little too wide, a little too unfocused. Mark? Hi? We were just catching up. I can see that, I said, trying to keep my tone light. Maybe you have had enough to drink? Nonsense, she slurred, waving her hand dismissively. I am fine. Liam is just telling me about his new company. Liam stood up, extending his hand. Mark, good to see you. Sarah was just telling me how well you were doing. His eyes held a glint of something I could not quite decipher. Pity? Amusement? I shook his hand, the grip firm, almost challenging. Likewise, I said, the word feeling like gravel in my throat. We were just about to head out, Liam said, turning to Sarah. I promised I would show Sarah my new place. Oh, right, Sarah said, swaying slightly. Liam has this amazing apartment downtown. All glass and steel. Very modern. It is getting late, I said, my voice hardening. Maybe we should all head home. But I want to see Liam's apartment, Sarah protested, her voice rising. Sarah, I said, taking her arm. You are drunk. We are going home. She pulled away, her eyes flashing with anger. Do not tell me what to do. I could feel everyone watching us. I hated scenes. Hated conflict. Let us just go, I repeated, my voice softer this time. Liam stepped back, a smug look on his face. I will catch up with you guys later, he said. I managed to steer Sarah out of the bar and into a taxi. She was silent the entire ride home, staring out the window. We got back to the house, and I helped her upstairs. She mumbled something about needing water and stumbled into the bathroom. I changed into my pajamas and climbed into bed, exhausted and frustrated. I drifted off to sleep, but woke up a few hours later. I reached out for Sarah, but the bed was empty. Panic flared in my chest. I got up and checked the bathroom. Empty. I checked the spare bedroom, the office, the living room. Nothing. My heart pounded in my ears. Where was she? I ran downstairs, frantically searching. Finally, I found her, passed out on the couch, fully dressed. Relief washed over me, quickly followed by confusion and anger. I nudged her gently. Sarah? What happened? She groaned and rolled over, her eyes fluttering open. Mark? What are you doing? What am I doing? What are you doing down here? How did you get here? She blinked, her brow furrowed. I do not remember. I just woke up here. You do not remember anything? She shook her head. Not really. I remember leaving the bar with you. And then, nothing. Nothing? I repeated, my voice rising. You do not remember how you got home? You do not remember getting out of bed? No, she said, her voice groggy. I just blacked out, I guess. Blacked out. That was her go-to excuse. Whenever she drank too much and did something she regretted, she blacked out. But this time, it felt different. This time, there was something missing. Something she was not telling me. I stared at her, my mind racing. Did she go back to Liam's apartment? Did something happen? The thought hit me like a punch to the gut. Did she cheat on me? The next few days were a blur of anxiety and paranoia. I replayed the night in my head, over and over, searching for clues, for answers. I questioned David and Emily, subtly probing them about Sarah and Liam's interactions. They did not seem to notice anything unusual, but I could not shake the feeling that something had happened. Then, Liam started texting Sarah. I saw the notifications pop up on her phone when she was in the shower. I did not read the messages, but I saw his name. That was enough. My work suffered. I could not concentrate. I was constantly distracted, consumed by my suspicions. Chloe, my colleague, noticed. She was smart, perceptive, and attractive. She was also happily married, but she offered a sympathetic ear. You seem stressed, Mark, she said one day, as we were grabbing coffee. Everything okay? I hesitated, then poured out my heart to her. I told her about the party, about Liam, about Sarah's blackouts, about my suspicions. Chloe listened patiently, her brow furrowed with concern. That sounds really difficult, she said. Have you talked to Sarah about this? Yeah, I said, but she just gets defensive. She says I am being insecure. Maybe you should try talking to her again, Chloe said. Try to be calm, try to explain how you are feeling. I knew she was right, but I was afraid of what I might find out. That night, I confronted Sarah. I tried to be calm, but my voice was trembling. Sarah, I said, I need you to be honest with me. What happened after we left the bar? She sighed and rolled her eyes. Mark, we have been over this. I told you, I do not remember. But Liam remembers, does he not? I said, my voice rising. He remembers taking you back to his apartment, does he not? Her face flushed. How do you know about that? I saw his texts. I said, you are lying to me. I am not lying, she protested. I just did not want to upset you. He just offered me a place to sober up. I was too drunk to go home. And that is it? I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Nothing else happened? No, she insisted. Nothing happened. I swear. I did not believe her. I want you to cut all contact with him, I said, my voice firm. No more texts, no more calls, no more anything. She hesitated, then reluctantly agreed. Fine, she said. I will block his number. But the damage was done. The trust was broken. I started checking her phone when she was not around. I knew it was wrong, but I could not help myself. I found deleted messages, but nothing concrete. I was consumed by paranoia. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I was turning into someone I did not recognize. One afternoon, Sarah told me she was going to meet a friend for coffee. I pretended to believe her, but I knew something was up. I waited an hour, then followed her. I saw her meeting Liam at a secluded cafe on the other side of town. My blood ran cold. I stormed into the cafe, my heart pounding in my chest. What is going on here? I demanded, my voice shaking with rage. Sarah's face drained of color. Liam smirked. Mark, what are you doing here? Sarah stammered. Do not play dumb, I said. I followed you. I know you are lying to me. We were just catching up, Sarah said, her voice barely a whisper. Catching up? I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Is that what you call it? Liam stood up, his eyes narrowed. Look, Mark, he said, this is between Sarah and me. You need to calm down. Calm down? I said, my voice rising. You're the one who needs to calm down. You're the one who's been sneaking around with my wife. That's not true, Sarah protested. We're just friends. Friends? I said, my voice cracking. Is that what you call sleeping with my wife? Sarah gasped. I did not sleep with him. Then what happened that night? I demanded. Tell me the truth. She hesitated, then burst into tears. I do not remember, she sobbed. I was drunk. I do not know what happened. That's not good enough, I said, my voice shaking. I need to know the truth. Liam stepped forward, his face hard. Look, Mark, he said, nothing happened. I swear. She was drunk, and I just helped her get home. That is it. I did not believe him. I want you to stay away from my wife, I said, my voice trembling. If I ever see you near her again, I will. You will what? Liam sneered. I did not know what I would do. All I knew was that I could not stand to look at him. I turned and walked out of the cafe, leaving Sarah sobbing at the table. The next few weeks were hell. The atmosphere at home was toxic. Mark and Sarah tried to reconcile, but the trust was gone. Mark obsessed over the details of the night, replaying the events in his mind and searching for clues. I considered calling Liam's girlfriend, telling her everything. But what would that accomplish? It would only make things worse. I confided in Chloe again. She was always there to listen, to offer advice. I started to develop feelings for her. I knew it was wrong, but I could not help myself. One day, Sarah's sister Anna came to visit. She could see that something was wrong. What is going on with you two? She asked me. You both seem miserable. I hesitated, then told her everything. About the party, about Liam, about Sarah's blackouts, about my suspicions. Anna listened patiently, her brow furrowed with concern. Sarah has always been a bit reckless when she drinks, she said. She had a similar incident in college. She got drunk at a party and ended up sleeping with one of her friends. My heart sank. Are you serious? I said. Yeah, Anna said. It was a big mess. She never really dealt with it. She just kind of buried it. That was it. That was the final piece of the puzzle. I knew then that Sarah had cheated on me. I did not need any more proof. I could not let it go. I decided to hire a private investigator. It felt drastic, but I needed to know the truth. The investigator came back with a report a week later. It confirmed my worst fears. Sarah and Liam had been at Liam's apartment for several hours after the party. There was no way to prove what happened, but the implication was clear. I confronted Sarah with the information. She denied everything, of course. She said she had just gone to Liam's apartment to sober up before going home. She swore that nothing happened. But I did not believe her. I could not believe her. I was faced with a choice: to believe Sarah's version of events or to succumb to my suspicions and end the marriage. I did not know what to do. We started seeing a therapist. The therapist suggested a short trial separation was needed for the betterment of both. So here I am. I am now sitting in an Airbnb, while Sarah remains in the house that we built together. Was it worth it? All the fighting, the accusations. I do not know if I will ever know the truth. I stare at a picture of Sarah on the nightstand. Her smiling face mocks me. Did she or did she not? I am not sure I will ever truly know.